Well, that's how I start all 900 events. Countdown timer, some background music, a little crawl across the bottom so that folks get some info as they come into the event. But 900 events. In this video, I will share with you 3 things. Plus, if you stick around to the end, I'll throw in a bonus tip, or I guess a bit of truth. But 3 things I know to be true about virtual presentations. 3 things that I know to be true after 900 virtual presentations. Welcome to my channel. My name is Eric Herdman, where we talk about, well, all things that make us better, little tricks, tips, and techniques so that we can improve ourselves and show up, well, the best we can every single day to whatever it is we do. Welcome to the channel. Please make sure, though, if you like the content here, if you like the value we're giving, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll know when things happen here. 900 events started in March of 2020. That's right, mid-March of 2020, we had to start as professional speakers. We had to start doing virtual presentations if we wanted to still have a business. I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but it was that harsh. If you think back 4 years ago, things were pretty much, if you can't do it from home in a remote setting, if you can't do it, well, then you ain't going to do it. And that was one of the things that happened with my speaking business. I mean, for over 20 years, the way I would do a speaking event was go to the airport, get on an airplane, fly somewhere, land, get in a rental car, town car, Uber, go to a hotel, sleep, get up and speak, and rinse and repeat that 3 or 4 times a week. Mid-March 2020, we had to do things virtually. One of the things I know to be true is that in many ways, virtual presentations are better than in person. What is better, right? So tip number 1 is they can be. How about that? They can be better than in-person events. Well, first of all, think about what we should be thinking about when we give presentations or even just have meetings virtually. It should be about our attendees. It should be about the audience, not about us. So think about it. I'm here in Las Vegas, and this is my studio, and I can broadcast out via, for example, Zoom. I can broadcast out to anywhere in the world, and I have. From Las Vegas on Pacific time, I can broadcast out to every little far corner of the world, and that's nice, because before I would have had to go into those locations, or it would have been very clunky and cumbersome. Someone would have put up a phone on a tripod, or sometimes with some duct tape, they would have mounted it up and tried to push that out via FaceTime or something like that to folks that might be located elsewhere. But now, I do mean this, it's pretty seamless. I've had people, obviously, in other countries, other time zones. I've had people on Mount Hood. I've had people on airplanes attend my events. I even had someone in a cave. Can't talk much more about that. They asked me not to say much more than that, but they were in a cave in another country, and they were attending one of my webinars. Oh, and someone also attended while they were not driving, but they were riding in a car on the Autobahn in Germany. So first of all, you can come in to an event from just about, maybe not even just about, maybe safe to say everywhere. Engagement and participation are something that always come up and could be a challenge if you don't know what you're doing or know how to take care of your audience and give them what they need to engage and participate. First of all, it is much easier for them to engage in the virtual environment than it is when you're sitting in a room. Sitting in a room full of people, if you're somewhat introverted or shy or a silent type, we used to call them wallflowers. I think you know that we're not here to criticize, indict, or label anyone, but we have those folks, right? And they come into a seminar room, with a bunch of people, and they're kind of like, okay, that bald man at the front of the room is going to talk, and I'm going to listen the whole time. I'll take notes and pay attention, but I'm not saying a thing. I'm not raising an eyebrow, let alone raise my hand. I would never ask a question. I'd never speak up. No matter if I have the best and brightest ideas, not saying a thing. Virtually, it's much easier because you can just tap a button and raise your hand. You agree with something, you can put a thumbs up in there. You could type yes in the chat. You could type yes and a paragraph to explain why you said yes. Again, you can meet folks where they are, which is what they want. They want to have an environment where they're comfortable engaging. And for some, that's just raising a hand. For some, it's a thumbs up, a green check mark that just shows a reaction. Sometimes it is comfortable for some folks to go ahead and type. I don't want to talk. I don't want to be on camera. He's not making me do that. So I'll go ahead and type in the chat. That's absolutely okay. And then there are some folks that just want to unmute themselves. No camera on, camera off, and unmute themselves and talk. And that's absolutely okay. Some folks like to turn the camera on, unmute themselves and talk, and then turn it back off. Some folks like to keep the camera on the whole time. And when they have something to say, they'll raise their hand and unmute themselves. We can do anonymous polling. We can do anonymous questioning where they can ask questions and no one will know who asked that question. We can even have, in certain platforms, a whiteboard or collaborative tool where people don't know who's writing it or putting the idea or drawing that picture or graph onto that whiteboard. I think you can see it's just much easier and friendly and comfortable and safe for folks to participate. There are more tools in this virtual environment, if you will. Oh, I know, we're still on number one. It's loaded, isn't it? Because, again, we're talking about not only they are better, but how are they better? There's more tools. There's, again, whiteboards. You can drop in graphics on the screen. You can make stuff show up. You've got animations. You can display videos much easier. You can launch poll after poll after poll after ranking system after questionnaire, whatever you like. You can have games and quizzes that people play real time. You can also have breakout rooms where they can get out of the echo chamber, if you will, and get into small groups and have meaningful discussions. So that's number one. They're better. Number two, quality before quantity. One of the things that I do know after 900 events is the quality does matter. This camera that I'm on right here, the main camera, it ain't some webcam or something built into the computer. No, it's a mirrorless 4K streaming camera with an additional lens that was bought separately, put on it, put into a teleprompter, and then connected via a capture card so that it streams and captures the best quality possible. Now, I know you say, well, wait a minute, some of the streaming clouds and platforms don't display 4K. No, they don't. Some of them struggle to even get a real rough, what looks like 1970 black and white TV image out. But at least I know that I'm pushing out the best quality image that I possibly can. The other thing I know about quality before quantity, audio quality before video quality. Now, that's just the way it went in mid-March and April and May of 2020. There weren't a lot of cameras to get a hold of, but I could find a lot of audio equipment, and I tested a lot of audio equipment. I wear a lavalier microphone with a battery pack. It's a Rode wireless go-to, and it allows me in the studio to move around so that I can use my different cameras, and I can display different things and change the angles. There are 5 cameras in this studio. And so I know that audio would be the first pursuit. If I had to do this over again, I would make sure I had the highest audio quality possible, and then I would start working on my video. I also, when we think about quality over quantity, this still applies in the virtual space. Get good. And then once you're good at giving a virtual presentation, get better. And then once you're better, start working toward great. And if you know the story that I'm talking about, that Phil, my mentor when I first started, told me, you never get to great. If you ever say, I'm great at these things, there's something wrong with you, because we're always in pursuit of that. But I started off I don't think I was even good in some of those early days, but I worked myself up to good. Some of that was practicing in live events. That's just the way it had to go, because we had to make a switch quick to survive. But I also did intentionally practice with the technology. As I learned how to use the production software, I practiced with it. And I worked myself up to better, and now I'm in pursuit of great, but I'll never acknowledge that. Number three, the third thing I know to be true after 900 virtual events is rule of get up, dress up, and show up still applies to virtual events. No, this is not a Zoom shirt, as they say. No, it's not all business upstairs and a party downstairs, meaning I'm wearing some shorts and flip-flops or just kind of some fuzzy slippers or some Crocs. I got the full kit on. And that's one thing I learned early on. Why would I do that differently? I show up to an in-person event ready to go. I made sure that the dress is appropriate for the event, or dressing slightly above the audience as a general rule. Why wouldn't I do that here? In fact, it's part of the mindset. This is the uniform. This is the full kit, right? This is what I wear when I present. Why wouldn't I wear it here? This audience deserves that same energy, me having the same confidence and comfort that I can give them that I would if I was in person. Part of that is how I show up. I get up in plenty of time to get ready. I don't just roll out of bed and put on a hoodie or a Zoom shirt and go. I get up, dress appropriately, and show up ready to go. Those are the three things I know to be 100% true after 900 virtual events. Now, if you're still here, you're probably looking for that number 4. I mentioned there would be a bonus tip at the end. And here it is. Number 4, the fourth thing I know to be true after 900 virtual events, this is still show business. What I mean is you can't be dry, dull, and boring in here. You can't rely on the bells and whistles and the background music and your sound effects and the angle of the camera to cover for your lack of ability to present. Make it an event. Make it a production. And by the way, if the camera puts 10 to 20 pounds on you, then the virtual environment requires you to push out 60 to 80% more energy than you would in a room full of people. Well, you're probably thinking, yeah, I get that, right? Because you can feel them, right? You can feel the vibe. You can feel their energy, right? They're giving off energy and enthusiasm when we feed off of that. Exactly. Except in here, yeah, all I've got is that image in the teleprompter. Oh, and that image is of me. Or I may have a small gallery view of folks, but again, there's somewhat of what we call a digital divide there, right? In how I see them and how close they are to the camera. You have to, in this space, you have to work 60 to 80% harder than you do standing in front of a room full of people. So some of you right there are ready to tap out, and you probably should. Probably too hard for you to do that. I know that in the beginning I struggled, meaning if I had a 2-hour talk or a 3-hour talk to give, at the end of that, I was ready to just lay down. Okay, I sometimes had to just get horizontal, right? Just stop, just sit down. I was so tired. But now, through conditioning, and of course 900 events get you pretty conditioned to do that, I now know how to push that energy out to an audience. And by the way, the comments that we get, that they feel that. We get feedback about energy was high. It was amazing how you were able to keep the energy high the whole event, not just at the beginning or a little bit in the middle, but all the way through. So remember, this is a presentation. This is show business. This is an event. They're not coming here to see some talking head. They can get that anywhere. They can get that on a lot of channels. They can get that at a lot of events. They can get that in a lot of meetings in their organization. They go in their learning management system and get that. Give them something that is unique and special and memorable. Until next time, folks, you know it. Make sure you take care of yourself so you can take care of each other, and I will see you in the next video.